Greetings and welcome back to my channel. My name is Brett and I am glad you're here for another video. I just got through reading Richard Wright, the man who lived underground, and I want to give you my thoughts on it. But before I do, I want to take the time to thank everyone who has taken the time to subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it. All of the super fans who have donated to my channel, because you know, a brother lost his job. I really do appreciate it, you know, more than you could know. I mean, watching my videos is enough, you know, but to donate like that, I really appreciate it. So thank you very much. It's amazing. Let's talk about Richard Wright, because he is definitely one of my favorite all-time authors. He has written a couple books that I read a long time ago. Richard Wright wrote two very famous books, and I want to talk about some of his other works really quickly before I get into this. One was Native Son and one was Black Boy. Native Son, I believe, was written in 1940 and Black Boy was written in 1945, maybe the other way around. If you haven't read either of those books, I recommend them both because they were both amazing. Black Boy was Richard Wright's memoir, and it told the story of him growing up in Mississippi and in Jim Crow South and their migration to Chicago. Interestingly enough, my family is from Mississippi and migrated to Chicago as well. In 1940, you know, my mother was what, 4? Yeah, so it was literally around that time. But anyway, Black Boy tells the story of Richard Wright's growing up in a household. First of all, growing up in the Jim Crow South and as a child and trying to deal with that, in addition to living in a very religious household, despite him not believing. He didn't believe. So it was a constant push and pull. It was a constant struggle growing up. So not only did he have to deal with the racism and the poverty because they were very poor, he also had to deal with his own family and the turmoil that arose just based on the fact that him not believing, him not being holy, him looking at religion from a logical point of view, from his point of view. And then, of course, his family migrates to Chicago, where things are supposed to be better, and encounters the same racism. So that was that. And Native Son. Native Son Native Son was really, I mean, Native Son was probably it was the novel that back then in the 40s that America wanted to forget existed. And I'll tell you why. Really quickly though. I'll tell you why really quickly. Okay. In that novel, Bigger Thomas, that was his name, Bigger Thomas, and he was a chauffeur for a rich, affluent white family. One day he's taking the daughter home. He's driving the daughter home and she's drunk. She can't even walk. He carries her upstairs, puts her in bed, and she starts yelling and she's going off and she's drunk. So the mother comes into the room. But the mother is blind. The mother is blind. So she comes into the room and he takes a pillow and he smothers. I'm not giving anything away because you can find these details in the cover. I wish I had the book right now. He smothers her with a pillow unintentionally. He unintentionally smothers her with a pillow just to try to silence her, because in his head, him being in that daughter's room would get him killed, right? will get him killed. So of course he's just trying to save himself. And oops, he kills her, but he kills her by mistake. He has a girlfriend, her name is Bessie, and she finds out about it. And I'm not going to tell you what happens any further, because if I tell you that, you're just going to be like, ah. But it was definitely one of those books that I recommend. It's Richard Wright was one of those really influential writers, African American writers specifically, because he came before James Baldwin, Toni Morrison, Ralph Ellison. It might have been around the same time as like Chester Himes, probably around that same time, or around the same time as Edgar Whiteman, authors like that. So a lot of the authors that came later, like Toni Morrison, were influenced by his work. Okay, so that brings us to The Man Who Lived Underground. This book was written in between 1940 and 1945. So it was written between his two most prominent novels, the two novels that he's best known for. And this didn't get published until I think it was 2021, and it was through permission from the estate and such, because this was not a novel that was released back then. This was a novella. It's I think it was like 158 pages or something like that. It was a shorter novel, but it was so powerful. Let me read the cover really quickly. Fred Daniels, a black man, is picked up by the police after a brutal double murder and tortured until he confesses to a crime that he did not commit. After signing the confession, he escapes from custody and flees into the city's sewer system. And that's exactly what happened. And the story really begins from the moment he reaches the sewer. And he's being framed. Okay, I can't tell you that because it's in there. He didn't have anything to do with the double murder that happened next door, but he was there. So he got snatched up, taken to the station, beat down, and forced to sign a confession, which is bad enough, but which happens. But he has an opportunity to escape. And where is he gonna go? We're talking about the death of two white people. What is he gonna do? Where is he gonna go? Police are looking for him. So he goes into the sewer to hide and stays down there. That's all I'm gonna say about that. It's definitely worth the time to read. I was wondering if I should start passing some of these books on. I had a thought, and let me know what you think of this thought in the comments. I don't know if someone does this or would do something like this or anything, but what would you guys think of if I did I wrote some notes, but I don't have them with me, of it's like passing the book around. It's like to see if the books can travel through 10 people. Like, let's say, for instance, I give the book to one of you, and you pass it to someone to read, that and we're all gonna sign it, the date on there, and maybe 10 people, and then the 10th person has to send it back to me. Now, I started thinking about what would go wrong with that. Of course, if someone reads the book and decides they're not going to pass it on, but I mean, that would just be the thing. But I think the beauty of it would be sharing my love for reading. So I passed the book on. I mean, if someone passed the book to me, I would pass it to someone that I know would read it. See what I mean? So I'm thinking that would be amazing. So I have to give it a little bit more thought and probably put it in some kind of jacket, just like when you go to the library, you have that little checkout form. I want it to be something like that, but just pass it. And then once it reaches 10 people, it comes back to me. And then I can do it again and say, okay, this one I wanted to go to 20 people and come back to me. Of course, it'll come to my P.O. box and not my house. You know, I didn't even think about it. I was on, like, I had printed out a ticket. I had just sold a book and I was printing out the label and I realized that's my home address. You know, I mean, it's not like no one is coming to do anything to me, but still, it's still my home address. So I'm gonna get a post office box. But this book is amazing. It's definitely worth your time. Now, because that's done, I had 2 more books. If you watch my older video, I did mention I picked up all of these books at the same time. Okay, James Baldwin's Go Tell It on a Mountain and Metamorphosis. This one's really short, so I could read this book before Tuesday. So I'm not really sure which one I'm going to read next. It just depends on how I feel. Now I'm on a roll. So to go from Richard Wright to James Baldwin is amazing. And, you know, I feel a little bad that I haven't read this in a while. And I still have Toni Morrison's The Bluest Eye. I put it down because I had the urge to buy these and I just haven't gotten around to it. So I think I may keep the same energy and just read James Baldwin's Go Tell It on a Mountain next. But let me know what you think of this idea of passing around these books. I'm sure it's something that has been done before, but I want to do it. I want to do it for my channel and just kind of promote literacy in my own way. So that's all I have to say. I want to thank you for taking the time for this short review of this amazing novel. And I will tell you, although this is a wrong book. Although this is a work of fiction, but it feels a little bit more experimental, you know, because he's underground and it's not 100% written about the actual sewer. You know, it's symbolic. The sewer is symbolic for what his life has become, his life in living in America. You know, not to mention the beatdown. God, it is so brutal. Now, this is not as brutal. Maybe it is. It's not as brutal as Native Son. Native Son, Bigger Thomas, that was brutal for other reasons. And you'll get to, you know, maybe I'll do a full review on Richard Wright's other novels. Who knows if I get an opportunity to. So I want to thank you for taking the time to listen to what I had to say about Richard Wright. As always, I invite you to subscribe to my channel. If you're not already subscribed, I am in the process of picking up another book collection. I've been in contact with someone about a book collection, but I haven't pulled the trigger on it yet. I'm going to decide after the holidays because I honestly don't have. I mean, I can't say I don't have because I can always rent a storage unit and put some books in. You know, so there is room, and there's always room for books, right? So we'll see. We'll just have to see what happens. I'm in the process of finding a bigger place, which is ironic because I just lost my job. So is this the ideal time to find a bigger place? Probably not, but I'm going to do it anyway because I want 2 more bookshelves. I actually want 4 more bookshelves. So we'll see. If you like this video, click the like button. I invite you to subscribe. I love you guys. Thank you for all of your support, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.
Aggregate what they can do with the PS team effects, and we usually like the